Alright, so this is just right off where we left off. Top 15 left. Remember, I put a lot of work into this series, so make sure to go down and like it. Thanks for watching, guys.
Coming in at number 15 is a shock to everyone, Quicksilver. I know most people would put him so low, and that's why I like him so much. I'm a fan of underrated characters. And the fact that he died so fast made me like him more. I would have liked him more if he would have stayed around, but his character just, even in one movie, he developed a lot, and I really like that about him. And you can see it in Wanda too, and you can see kind of how much she misses him. But it's like, if you could bring back a certain Marvel character, he would be one of the first ones that comes to my mind. So that's why he's up there. Coming in at number 14 is Mantis, another underrated character that I had to put up here because she's always overlooked and everybody forgets about Mantis, but Mantis does a lot, guys. She's not like Drax, where all he has is knives. She has something that she can do. She kind of reminds me of like a therapist in the sense that she can manipulate your mind to like think something, and she was a huge help with that with Thanos. But I just feel like she contributed a lot. She's showed a bit of character progression, and that's why I rank her higher. And I know a lot of people would argue for that, but Mantis is a great character. Coming in at number 13 is Nebula. The reason Nebula is so high is because she has good character development. We've seen a lot come from Nebula, and I feel like this goes for Gamora and Nebula. Endgame kind of ruined them, but made them better at the same time, because now you've introduced a new one of both, and it was just an interesting thing to watch. And now I can't wait to see her try and develop that new friendship with Gamora and what's going to happen there. And I'm sure we'll get to see that in the future. Coming in at number 12 is another Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot. I have kind of strong feelings about Groot. He's one of the most loved Marvel characters, and I understand why, because he's there. He's super funny, and he's kind of just there, not really contributing. And his powers are way cool, but he only really did anything helpful in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I don't feel like Groot was all that good in Infinity War and Endgame because he was just there to be funny. He wasn't there to help win. Besides his moment with Thor, that was really it, and he didn't really contribute in any other way. So that's why I put Groot so low, or so high and low. I guess he's kind of right in the middle. Coming in at number 11 is Doctor Strange. The reason I like Doctor Strange so much is because he's smart and because he has a lot of character development. He changes from like this guy who's a beginner and doesn't really know a whole lot about what he's going to do about the time stuff. And then he becomes a professional. And I think we're really going to see a lot more about him in the upcoming Spider-Man movie, about how much he's grown as a character, and I'm really excited for it. His powers are always super cool, and it's cool that he always knows what's right, and how everybody has gotten to the point where he's trusted him. And it's kind of like a 2-in-1 superhero, because he's got his cape, which I mean is basically as powerful as some of the other superheroes. So, alright, so we've now entered our top 10. Coming in at number 10 is Black Widow. If you haven't seen the Black Widow movie, you may want to skip ahead, because I'm going to be talking a lot about that here. So, first off, let's start off with original Black Widow. I really like this character. She just wanted to help everyone. She wasn't too selfish. And that's why she's really high on this list, is because I just really liked her character. And you can really see that character in her at the end. Especially in Infinity War and Endgame. She just really wants to help people, and she will do it she'll do it at whatever cost it takes. And she shows that with Hawkeye by giving her own life to get the stone. And that moment was so sad, because it's like you're killing off all the original Avengers, and that moment you just realize how good of a character she is, and she wants to help everyone, and she'll do it at whatever. And in this new Black Widow movie, we see a lot of her backstory that was left out. And I've mentioned a lot on this list of characters lacking their backstory, and she would be one of those characters if they hadn't made this movie. And it really helped out a lot, and it was a great movie, and it kind of had a new style to it. Shanghai and Black Widow have kind of had a new movie style to it, and if you're catching on, comment down below if you agree with me, but that's kind of where I'm at. Coming at number 9 is Ant-Man. Ant-Man is a great character, as I mentioned earlier. He's hilarious. He and Wasp are a great duo. We've seen a lot about his backstory, and that's really all I can say about him. He's great. I like how he's willing, he's funny, but he can be heroic in his own way. And I really like that about Ant-Man, how he's willing to sacrifice his own things. Like, he was on house arrest for Captain America. Like, what does that not show about him? So I like Ant-Man. Coming in at number 8 is Gamora. I don't know if you guys have been catching on this list, but I really like a good backstory and a good character development. And that is something that Gamora has for sure. You learn a lot about... Well, let's just start this. Gamora has come so far from the first movie to Infinity War. I mean, she came a long ways, and I love that about Gamora. And her and Nebula kind of go through the same process, and that's why Nebula was so high, is because they, like Loki and Drax, like Loki and Thor, have created this bond, and then you kind of destroyed it, which wasn't my favorite. But she's just a great character that you see her have a lot of connections with other characters with. And it's just a really cool thing to see Gamora in. And she does bring some of that comedy, and she reminds me of freshmen in high school, or 6th or 7th graders going into middle school. They don't really know what they're getting themselves into at first, like in the first couple Guardians of the Galaxies, but she does it because she thinks it's fun. And that's kind of what I get from Gamora. Coming in at number 7 is Iron Man. Iron Man, his death scene was what ranks him up there a lot, because it was really just a heartfelt moment between all the people who one went to his funeral, and two, in the moment he was dying, you really could see. Well, first off, you kind of knew that he didn't want that to happen, but he had to have that happen because he had to step up, and he realized that if he made one sacrifice, it would save more lives than his own. And I think that's really cool to see from him. He's gotten smarter about his decisions and how he's going to spend his time. And he's self-evaluated a whole lot more. And kind of went more basic. He kind of lived a normal life for a while. And I think that was something that he needed as a character, because he was always super caught up in himself, and he really developed, and I think that was great for him. Coming in at number 6 is Rocket. Rocket hasn't had much of a character development at all in this, but he's so funny that I bring him up here. But what I like about Rocket is how funny he is and smart at the same time. Kind of a little bit like Iron Man, but he has this technology, and the reason I consider him more of an Avenger than Drax, because Drax is human, Rocket he's smart, he's building guns, he's contributed a lot more, and that's why he's a really good member of the Guardians. I think he's hilarious, and his interaction with Groot has grown so much. And you really see a relationship with him and all the other members of, he's that kind of person that it's easy to make friends with, and you can really see that he kind of has a joking personality. So that's what I had to say about Rocket. Coming in at number 5 is Hulk. Hulk is a character I have always loved. He used to be my favorite superhero at one point, and then they came out with all these other better movies. Okay, here's what I have to say about them. They've had a great character progression. He went from this guy who was like super afraid of having Hulk out to finally addressing it, to Hulk was too afraid to come out. And then you have someone who he fully embraces it, which I wasn't quite a fan of that, and I wish they still would have done the switching, and I'm sure they'll switch it back. So that'll be interesting to see. But also in the She-Hulk trailer, we saw him as that same form, so I'm not sure what'll happen there. But I'm thinking that he and She-Hulk are gonna have a good bond, and he's gonna have her help her control her Hulk. But I think he has progressed a whole lot, and I think he's super helpful and he's super thoughtful. And I think that's what kind of makes a great hero, is somebody who's not selfish, somebody who's looking out for others and is willing to sacrifice their lives potentially to save the world. So yeah. Coming in at number 4 is Star-Lord. Obviously, Star-Lord's got to be up there. He's so funny. He's done some dumb things. He's done some really smart things. But he's normal. Like, I feel like he's not some crazy personality like all the rest of the Avengers. He's kind of like a normal person who goes through all his emotions, and he's not well at expressing them. And that's kind of what I get from Star-Lord. But he takes you through an emotional story, and that's something that I think Marvel can lack sometimes, is that emotional story. And maybe that's just me personally, but Star-Lord brings that in really well, and he brings the comedy too, and Chris Pratt does a great job of playing him. So, coming in at number 3 is Scarlet Witch. If you haven't seen WandaVision, that totally changed my opinion on everyone, because WandaVision it's literally my favorite Marvel movie, series, whatever, of all of them, because it left you on such of an edge, just trying to figure out what would happen next. And Scarlet Witch has gone through so much as a character, and I think it really shows, and it really helps you kind of understand what she's going through. And I feel like something that Marvel does a really good job of is connection. We can connect to her character, and that's really cool. So that's why she's up here. She's got a good backstory, and we've seen a lot from her, and her accent's amazing. So, coming in at number 2 is Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. Tom Holland just plays him really well. My personal favorite out of all of them. And the movies are all so good. I'm more ranking the Spider-Man movies than I am Spider-Man. But Spider-Man, he contributes so much to the story. And you see all of his emotions kind of a lot. And you get to see this bond between him and Iron Man. And it's just heartbreaking to you when you see him die, and when he has to lose Iron Man. And then you have to see him go through this whole movie without Iron Man, and he has to fight his first war and kind of make his own decisions on how he's going to go without some help. And that really connects the viewers to Spider-Man, and it makes him a better character. Coming in at number 1, I'm sure you all know who it is, because I mentioned he's my favorite before, and that's Vision. I personally believe Vision could have taken Thanos on his own, but he just didn't have enough strength. And I'm not going to get into that, I'm just going to put that out there. I wouldn't say he's the strongest superhero, but he's so cool. His character design is so cool. And he's one of the only pieces we have left of Iron Man. And so I'm kind of excited yet scared to see where they take Vision in the future, because it might drop my opinion on him. But his color scheme, his character's great. And we see a lot from Vision. And his relationship between Wanda is also another one of the reasons why he's so high on this list. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know this has been a very long video, but I'm glad we got to do this, and I hope everything works out for you guys. And I hope you all have a great week until next Friday. Bye, guys.